that it is a journey of service to others, not just of worship to the Father, but of service to others, particularly those in need. But what I've always been struck by is how much we need to be involved in this ministry of serving others. It comes back to us sometimes double, triple fold than what we ever give out. And today is a perfect example of that. We have a really special guest, and you'll be glad that you tuned in today. So I'm Robert Day, CEO of Patrick Henry Family Services, and this is Community Connect. Thanks for joining us. Claudia Fletcher is going to introduce our guest today. Claudia, for those who don't know, maybe tuning in for the first time, she's the Chief Program Officer here at Patrick Henry Family Services, and one who picks up her cross daily to follow him in service of others. So, hey, Claudia.
Hey, Mr. Day. It's good to be here. You ready for me to do the introduction?
Yeah, let's do the introduction.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce April to you. And April is one of my favorite people. She's got a lot of personality. She's a lot of fun. But I met her during one of the first times that my church met a care portal request. And what we did was all she needed was an Uber card. She had just lost her kids to foster care after a big, long story that she doesn't have time to get into today, nor do we. But she lost 3 of her kids were in foster care. And she had a big journey to get them back. She had a lot of things she needed to do. And the first one was she had no transportation and she needed an Uber card. Mm-hmm. And so when I first started doing Care Portal, I would take the person to lunch to get to know them. And so I invited her to lunch, and we had lunch. And I noticed right away her big personality, and I knew that it was going to be a journey. So this is in June of 2020. And so her story is that it took her about 6 or 8 months just to get into a good place. Mm-hmm. And then it took her another year or so to get her kids back. So almost 2 years. And so I've been her friend ever since. We've been together a lot of times. And you'll hear more about that as we move into the video.
Yeah. And this is recorded, so this isn't happening live. And that's why you see us dressed differently in this interview than you do now. But it's a wonderful interview. So let's cue that up, Rob. Let's get going. So how did you feel, Claudia, kind of just showing up in the middle of your crisis? And, I mean, were you nervous, scared?
No, because at the end of the day, I'm from Baltimore. So I've been down here for 14 years. And by me, like, being down here by myself, the support is, like, so by her stepping in and doing everything that she was doing, it was like, all right, I got to start calling her Mama C, because she stays, like, literally, she stayed on my back. Like, it was, I'm serious, and I needed that.
Yeah.
You know, because if you do not have that and you by yourself, you look and you be like, dang, I'm by myself, I don't have anybody. You know, I don't have anybody that I feel like is pushing me, you know, making me want to do better. So having them ripped away from me, I'm not going to say I was used to that, but it happened before.
Okay. But what made this one different for you?
What made it different is that I went through the whole process, that I went through that whole entire timeline, and I honestly did it double times.
So it seemed more serious?
It was very serious.
Yeah.
To be telling my story.
You tell your story.
I struggled with drugs. Okay, my mother was a alcoholic when we was growing up. My dad, he was a drug addict. So, product in my environment, you
April,
know.
did you spend any time in foster care as a child?
No.
No.
I've not ever. No. And I'm grateful for that. But my children went through that. I will say this: Jeremy and Rachel Snyder, they're my kids' foster parents. I still keep in contact with them. They are the sweetest people. When they had to return my kids back home, it was really, really emotional for her. I can tell that she loved my children. she gives great hugs. If she see this, I just want to let her know she gives great hugs. Certain people on your journey of life, you meet, and they're either a lesson or a blessing, or it could be both. That's up to you to decide. That's up to you to see who you want to stay in your corner. She was one person. The Snyders, like I'm in between situation with my vehicle right now, and they're letting me drive a car of theirs. You know, Care Portal, like the things that everybody has done for me is, you know, but having them snatched away like that, and somebody telling me basically this is what you have to do.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Like you
yeah.
no, you got to do this.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know.
So
and-
somewhere deep inside, you decided this was going to be a lesson and a blessing.
Yes, it was both of them. At the time, COVID. So by them being snatched and ripped away like that, it was COVID. So everything is basically over the phone. My visits is Zoom visits. After a while, my visits was Zoom visits. I couldn't touch them. I couldn't nothing. And it was just like honestly, it was just like a boring hour FaceTime call. It really was. Like now that it's over, I can say that like it was just like like out of anything, I understand it's COVID, but my one little visit I get, and it got to be over the video, like.
Yeah. I hear what
So,
you're saying.
if anybody lost their kids during that time, I feel for any of them because that was just the roughest. Like literally, I really gotta.
Yeah.
And it was consistent, and I couldn't. I said, I'm gonna climb the highest mountain. I'm gonna jump down, then I'm gonna climb it again, and I'm gonna jump over all them hot rocks, and I'm gonna come back. And I said, then I'm gonna dive in the ocean, and I don't know how to swim, and I'm gonna swim oceans, and I'm gonna keep doing what they say, even though I did it with attitude. I
Did you now?
I did it with attitude because after a while, it just really was dragging.
Sure.
She'll tell you, like, after a while, it was just dragging. Like I said, COVID. And then DSS, whichever state you in, I think it's like that everywhere. The workers are just, like, disappearing. So it was like, all right, boom. We didn't got to a mark in my situation. Boom, we got to extend yours another 6 months because you got a whole new worker. And every time I would call her, I'm like, Mom. I'd be like, please. She'd be like, April, calm down. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is just not fair. It just was getting to, it's not fair now.
Yeah.
Why should I be faulted because y'all don't have no employees? Like, for real? And that's how it was with me.
Remember when I used to text her? I used to text her, who you choosing? Drugs or your kids?
Yes.
Who
yes.
you choosing?
She
Drugs
did
or your
that, huh?
She would text me that every day.
Wow.
Who you choosing today? That's why I say she's not Claudia Flesher to me. She's Mama C to me, like every day. And I'd be like, I should have came from out of her. Because she's just that motivational, you know, she stuck with me. Like she didn't have to do that.
Yep.
She stuck with me, and I can't do nothing but thank her for that. Thank God for placing her, you know, in my life because she's everything.
Yeah.
She is. Literally, you was everything.
And one of the things that April hasn't mentioned is how many of the things that she's done herself that have helped her to, I mean, she went through getting ahead classes.
I did.
She graduated.
I did the Get in Ahead class. I did the Get in Ahead Academy. I'm a certified PCA. I'm certified Women in Machining. Y'all might see me on TV again because they're having a ceremony for us next month. I was doing stuff just to do
Stuff
stuff.
that CPS didn't ask of you.
No.
Yeah. You wanted to make yourself better.
Honestly, when Miss Cindy Joyner got on the case, I've been knowing Miss Cindy Joyner since I was 18. So, and she's been working with the Department of Social Services, so she used to be my view worker. So, for her to be my last worker, and like I said, when I started getting the ball in my hand, you remember when I was like, Mom, they're not giving me my overnights. I was asking them, and I was demanding for it because I'm like, no, I done everything that y'all done said. I don't have to do nothing. Like, it was nothing else on the checklist that I had to do. I bust everything out within the first 6 months, and so it was like, all right, I need my overnights. I need my longer visits. I need this. I need that. And when she came in, I said, listen, I don't know how trial home placement goes, because that's what it's called, trial home placement. I said, I don't know what that is. I don't know how it go. I thought it was going to start in January or February, because my last court date was March. No, my kids was home, at home. Everything in there that they ever done gotten in foster care was at my house.
December
It was December
17th or something.
Yeah,
like
they were supposed to come home December the 17th, but I had to work that day. So they stayed with Jeremy and Rachel that weekend, and then they had came home that Monday. And my kids was home, and I just had to thank God, like, oh, I'm about to go into the new year with them. 2022 about to be my year. And my granddaddy died. And he kept telling me, April, this is going to be a year. This is going to be a year. He did. Not only did I give my kids, I done bought me a brand new car and everything. You know, and I'm doing all this by myself. I don't, only financial supportive that done anything for me is Care Portal. That's the only thing. Care Portal, they came and paid my rent. They gave me gift cards when they didn't give me no food stamps. They did that. And Care Portal, it should be everywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, because it was sometimes I didn't know what I would do. They came and brought me bike hooks. My kids' bikes hanging from the ceiling. They came and brought me big totes. The things they've done, and you would never know. She'll get a request. She'd be like, April, do you really need this? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I do.
And none of those people had to do any of that. They volunteered to do that, right? And
One family
yeah,
came and paid off my full balance where I live at.
is that
They gave them people almost $500. So if, you know, I was like, hey, my bills, you know how your bills fall? And my bills was falling on different days. And I'm like, I'm living paycheck. I was a manager at Bojangles. I'm like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I can't do this. Oh, I'm stressed. I can't. And then on Mother's Day this year, I quit. I quit and I private sit. Stress free. When I go home with my kids, picking them up, I'm not tired.
Yeah.
But Care Portal is everything.
Awesome.
Is everything. Like, literally, it is.
And just a reminder, Care Portal is not just the technology; it's the people
it's
behind
the people behind it. Yeah. And then March, right? March is when the kids they close the case, right?
Yeah. March 17th, I got sole custody. Everything with both of my kids' father basically is under my discretion. So if I say, we ain't doing that, we ain't doing that, you know. My ex-husband, he didn't do anything. My 3-year-old's dad, he did everything he had to do, but he was the reason why my kids went into foster care. Okay? So it's like being skeptical of men, being skeptical of around my children means a lot to me. That plays a big role, you know. And I was just telling my kids the other day, like, he was like, Mom, you always happy now? I'm like, I was not always this happy. You know, she know I shut myself out from everybody. You know, my mental health worker, April, this is not healthy. I shut myself out from everybody because I was mad at myself. I was embarrassed. I was hurt. I felt betrayed. I felt every little thing in the book, and I had to shut myself out from everything. And when I came back out and started smiling, and people was wondering why, and I'm like, y'all just don't know what I got going on in my life, you know. And I gotta try to smile. And what me and my kids do now that we don't do, we read the Bible with each other every night.
Amen.
You know, we pray. If my kids in Baltimore with my mother and I'm at home, my 13-year-old, she got an iPhone. Hey, come on, find something to read. Let's read something real quick. Let's pray together. And that's what I stick by with them now, you know. And then, you know, I'd be like, a family that what? And they're like, praise together, stay together. And I'm like, great. You know.
One last.
One more thing I was going to say. So April came over. Remember the first time you came?
Yes.
And so most people don't know my story, but my family is far from perfect. But my kids came, my grandkids came up and we had dinner and my husband made a meal And everybody left, and April was sitting at the table, and she just started crying. And I came out and I said, "What's wrong?" "You just got such a perfect family." I'm like, "Oh my
my
gosh,
goodness.
that is so hilarious. There's nothing perfect about my family."
But see, I didn't know until me and her, we get very personal. We get very personal. And when she got personal with me, I would have never known. I would have never known she adopted all her children. I would have never known that. Like, it is like the presence, okay? When you walk in her house, I keep telling them, like, Mama, see you is rich. I be like, dang, I love going over there. Anytime she's ready to invite me over there, I'm like, y'all, we going over to Mama C's house. Like, the neighborhood is just so, but when you walk through her door, it's just nothing but you could just feel that positive energy. And she got this big old table. Everybody got a seat. And Mr. Bart be in the kitchen, and he throws down, okay? Mr. Bart throws down, hands down. My main man
And we're talking about
throws
cooking, right? Yeah.
throws down. I have not ever had chicken and dumplings. Never. His
Yeah.
was the first time. And I said, And he had made these brownies. And she just have a, like I said, you would not been able to tell that them kids was adopted. I would have never known. I would have thought, I was like, and when she was telling me, I was like, dang, she got a lot of kids. I was like, dang, they got a lot of kids. It's just like, everybody's just happy. It was just so loving just to be around that. And she let me be a part of that. You know, and that made me feel good. That made me
Yeah.
feel really, 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 really good. They are nice. They are lovely people.
Oh, brother. Okay, so then fast forward till March, and so everybody got to come over. And we had dinner again, and Mr. Bart made all the same things April wanted, right?
So
Made some little chicken nuggets for Kamari.
Yes.
And
Had a bowl of
we had
macaroni. He had food. It was like Thanksgiving in the summertime.
so we had a meal, but when April and the kids left, everybody just said she's a different person. When
I
she
didn't
was
know
here
that.
before. Yeah.
It's, you know, it is good to see and hear people say that about me. But honestly, being honest, the only proud of yous that I know is from here and I believe them is hers, the Snyders, and Danielle Smith, and Miss Joyner, and Mark T. Stewart, my kids' guardian item, and John, Gary Payne, and my lawyer Mary. Other than that, all those other thousands, millions of people, none of their, oh, I'm so proud of you, none of theirs mean anything to me because y'all doubted me that whole entire time. Y'all doubted me that whole entire time. And it's okay. You know, I forgive them, but I know when they hear my name, they be like, she untouchable because I got that plaque. Don't play with me.
The fact that you had never been in a house like that before, that broke my heart. Because that means that a lot of people who aren't wealthy, middle class people, never invite people who are living in poverty to even have something to achieve or to dream of. And April kept saying to the kids, you look around. Someday we're going to live in a house like this. Someday we're going to live in a house like this. And it just made me realize how powerful relationships can be when they're authentic and when you're willing to go through the ups and the downs of somebody to be able to say, here's something that I can offer you. It's another choice, something else you can see. And the fact that April's, 29, 30, you 30 already?
Yeah, I just turned 30.
Oh my gosh. She's 30 years old, and for the first time at age 30, she was in a middle class home. There's something wrong with that.
You don't even owe it to yourself. You owe it to your children because they ain't asked to be here.
Yeah.
You know, and they got put into a situation where it was just out of, control. But I asked my kids, like, y'all happy y'all home? They're like, yeah, man, we are happy we're home. And for them to say they happy and to see them happy and to genuinely know that they're happy, that's what make me happy. But like I said, I just keep bonds with people. And Jeremy and Rich, I say, anytime y'all want to come and get these kids, call my phone, text me, I'm dropping them off. We can meet up.
Yeah.
And
Good.
I still, like, when I met her daughter, our sons play. So it's like me meeting new people. My children has met new people as well, positive
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely.
And you have to keep that positive around you, because the more positive you get. When you have all that negative stuff around you, and you don't get nowhere.
Yep.
You don't, and you gotta. And another thing, you gotta learn how to swallow your pride. That was the biggest thing for me. It was a pride thing. Like when she introduced me to, it was Tabby, it was Michaela. I love them. I still got their number. I text them here and there. They used to give me rides to my visits and stuff like that. When I got the gift card, like, so it's just you gotta swallow your pride, because if you got somebody in that's coming in there and stepping in there and want to help you, you gotta want to get that help, because without that help, you're not going to.
Yep.
You're not. Yeah. You need some kind of help, a little bit of support, just a tad, even if it's a drop.
I haven't earned the right to say I'm proud of you, obviously, because
Thank
I
you.
haven't been there.
Thank you.
But can I say thank you
Sure.
to you? Because not only was I a CPS worker, but I was in foster care, in and out of foster care. I was born in foster care. And my mom did not fight for me like you have fought for your kids. She kept choosing to stay with the bad men that were putting me at risk. And so you made those good decisions for your kids. And so thank you for that. Thank you.
I just really I want to start being motivational to other people, but I'm a
Exactly.
little nervous because I'm still a work in progress myself.
You are, but
But you gotta want that. You just gotta want that.
yep.
You carry them babies all that long time. No, I want to be able. My great grandmother, 81 years old, and she told me, you don't ever want your children to throw nothing up in your face. And I don't care if my kids tell me 1,000 times, Mom, we got taken away from foster care. But at the end of the day, did she get you at? You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just certain stuff. It's just certain things. I'm like, no, I got to handle that. And that was just a situation that I wasn't walking away from. No, I couldn't walk away from that. I had to go to the finish line. And I'm still trying to reach the second part, wherever, that's going to be. But I'm ready to jump into a career and not having to worry about if I got to look at my bank account today or tomorrow.
So make me a promise, when you get that job at BWTX, you're gonna come back and give us an update on what's going on in your world, okay?
Yes.
And maybe bring the kids with you next time so we can meet
All
them
right,
too.
yeah.
All right.
Hopefully, the 3-year-old, she ain't too.
That's all right. Thank you, April.
Thank y'all for.
God bless you.
Thank you too.
All right. Wow, that's a powerful story. Thanks for introducing us to her.
Sure, but I have to say something because I know that it is the burning question on everybody's mind.
Oh, no.
Why didn't anybody say anything about the bra strap? I am convinced that is a burning question on everybody's mind. So now that we're over with that,
Yes.
I want to know, too, why nobody said anything about the bra strap. Okay, what were you going to say?
Well, there's a whole lot more on the, we could do another one. There's probably another 30 minutes of her talking freely and authentically about her journey. But what strikes me is how authentic and transparent your life and your journey helped her.
Yeah, we feel like we have had the biggest blessing ever in getting to know April. I learned so much, so many things that I thought I knew about her journey. And with adopting 12 kids, all of my kids have a mom, right? And all of my kids have a second mom. And their first moms didn't get them back. And so seeing the barriers that were there, letting my kids meet her, some of them, and my grandkids meet her kids. And it's just been a really rich experience. So, yeah.
So how do folks overcome their own barriers to welcome somebody like April in their home or even just into their life to walk with them for a while and help them overcome some struggles?
Well, I think it has to be with some faith and with some trust that God's going to protect and that He's gonna bless and He's going to oversee it. I think it's a faith issue. And it's just a matter of once you spend a few minutes, 15 minutes with somebody, you realize that we have a lot of things in common, even if we're very different, and it gets a lot less scary. And the more times you do it, the less scary it gets. But I think the really significant thing that I learned is as she built that circle of support, as she had added more people, she kept remembering people, right? That was what got her through. It wasn't just me. We were a piece of that. We introduced her to people that became a part of that. But it became a village that helped her because she really was, that first summer, she was desperate. She was so lonely. She would, walk through the house all alone after she'd been busy parenting for, 11 years. And now she's got nothing. She's got nobody. I asked her, how many people do you know in Lynchburg that don't use? And she said, only one besides you, right? So she had to walk away. That's why she isolated herself, had to walk away from all of her friends and family that were here. And but to see that circle that replaced those people in positive ways that believed she could succeed, I think is a big part of it. It wasn't just me and my family. We were just a piece of that.
Sure. So Care Portal was the technology that allowed making the connection with the need that DSS had,
Right.
which was really April's need. And then we responded to that, but the technology would not have changed April.
No.
I mean, she listed a number of things that people did for her, which obviously helped, but it wouldn't sustain her.
No, no. And the relationship piece is the big piece. Care Portal just introduces people to that. And, my life is so rich. And that's just the way my personality works. I can't imagine why people wouldn't do this. Like, why wouldn't you want to do something that's going to be so incredible, such a great opportunity? And we've met several Care Portal requests, but there's probably about 10 of those that have really stuck with us, that are part of our lives now, that have had meals at our homes, that we're in contact with on a regular basis, and they make us better. They make us understand. They make us, a stereotype was broken when you meet somebody that doesn't fit it, right? So a lot of the ideas that I had about this population were changed because of my experience with Care Portal.
And it's not about hiring more social workers or caseworkers or counselors or professionals. I mean, we all have a part to play in that. But we believe here it is personal relationships with people who are voluntarily stepping into that space, because there is a difference. The people being helped know there's a difference, right?
Right. And there's another girl that I still am in contact with that I met about the same time. Someday she's going to get her kids, she's going to get stable, and she's going to be here to talk to you. I really believe that, but her journey is taking an awful lot longer. But one of the times we sat down for a meal, and she said to me, I started thinking about it, and this is a girl who aged out of foster care and who has been trying to make it on her own without the support that she needs. And she said, I just realized that outside of my family, you're the only person I know who cares about me and doesn't get paid to. And that's the beauty of Care Portal. Yeah. It's that idea that we can do something for somebody we're not getting paid to do. And it means so much more to the people who receive when they know that there's nobody getting paid to care about them. And I think we have a lot of good workers out there who definitely do care.
Yeah.
But
and she mentioned a worker.
Yeah.
So even a worker can have this kind of attitude and connection that goes beyond the professionalism, right?
Right. And I want to give a shout out to the Snyders, too, who were her kids' foster parents, because that's the kind of commitment that foster care really requires, to say, I love these kids so much that I'm going to support their mom if they go back to her. I'm going to, instead of, kind of hoping that they don't so that I can keep them, no, I'm going to love these kids enough to love their mom and to support her too. So, Jeremy and Rachel, thanks.
Yes. Thank you, Claudia.
Yep.
Any last thing you want to say?
No, and you should do it. That's what I have to say.
you
you should do it.
There
That's all I got.
All
you should
right.
do it.
Hey, I told you this would be a special Community Connect, and I hope we'll have more of these kind of connections, not just with those who are helping in the community, but with those who, because of help, are now turning their lives around and being a help. So until we see you next week, God bless you.
Nobody gets to choose their family. If a person is fortunate enough to be born into a healthy family, then life can be much like floating down a smooth, gentle river in the summertime. But an unhealthy family is like a dangerous river, filled with rocks, debris, and fast-moving water. This river swiftly leads to the steep waterfall of adulthood, tragically forming a new river of dysfunction. Even if you aren't born into an unhealthy river, there are many streams that cause a person to get there. But there is only one way to get out, and that is through a meaningful relationship. Across our region, there are many agencies, churches, and families who are devoted to helping children escape from unhealthy rivers. Some feel their role is to wade in and rescue children. They foster, adopt, or provide safe families. Others stand by the river and support the rescuers by providing what they need. Still, others are upstream and stand in the gap to keep children from ending up in the negative situations. At Patrick Henry Family Services, we see ourselves as having an additional role. We are running up and down the shores of the unhealthy river, screaming, "Can't you see the children in the water? You have to do something." Vision 30 is a 10-year initiative. By 2030, we envision a region where all children are safe in their own family, or with caregivers who are supported by a local faith community. So, where do you stand at the river? Are you upstream, keeping families together and strong by standing in the gap? Are you in the river, directly impacting children? Are you on the shore, providing support for the brave folks who have entered the river? Or are you just passing by without noticing? No matter who you are, come down to the river with us. Let us help you find your place. Not only will lives be changed, but you will never be the same.